Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners. Today we're going to tie a large caddis larva. The hook I have in the vise is a 37160. It is a size 16. You can see it's pretty big looking, but the size goes by from the point to the shank. This is Mustad's Scud pupa hook. I have a 3mm copper bead on there. I'm going to start with 10 thousandths lead wire, and we're going to wrap most of the hook shank, probably from where it would hang at the point or the barb. We're going to wrap that up to the bead. This is going to add weight, obviously, but it's also going to help add bulk to the fly. I'm going to push that down inside, and I'm going to get rid of this tag end on the rear. And just fold that over. I'm going to use 6/0 Chartreuse thread. And I'm going to start the thread in back of the lead wrap. I'm going to go back first, just a short distance. Get a nice chartreuse base down on that rear section. It kind of tends to turn dark with the materials. Then we're going to wrap the lead wire. You can spin your bobbin counterclockwise to get it to flatten out. With this shape hook, you could turn it to the on its side if you have the rotating vise, just to help prevent it from falling down and you getting too big of wraps. I'm going to go ahead and cover that all up. Give my bobbin one more spin. And bring that thread forward. You can hear it thundering outside, and no fishing for me today. Now I'm going to bring my thread to the bead. I'm going to take a olive pheasant tail, and I'm going to take off about 3/8 of an inch of it, and I pull that off, and it doesn't look like it would if it was on there, but it's kind of all bunched together. I'm going to take the tips of them, and I'm going to use the tips for legs. Try to get these as even as you possibly can. I'm going to turn my vise a little bit, just slightly, and I'm going to tie them in on the far side, and I'm going to let that thread pull them to the other side, or pull them to the bottom. We can take them and push them to the bottom there. There we go. Now I want to bring my pheasant tail back to the top, and I want to wrap this in mostly on the top. You can see that you get that little bit of a darker color there, but we're going to have dubbing up the top there. So now I'm going to hold everything on top, even pull it towards the close side or your side, and start wrapping that. And try to get them pretty tight wraps. It doesn't matter if there's that little space. It's going to be on top and it's going to be pulled over. Having that bottom, that bright color, is the key here. We're going to bring that right to the end of our thread base. Now I'm going to take a fine black wire and I'm going to tie that in on top. And then we want to make sure that stays on top. We're going to go ahead and wrap that in good. And now we're going to make sure we put some really tight wraps. There we go. And we want to cover everything. We want to kind of make this body a little bit fatter up towards the head. And you can stop about 1 bead length from the eye of the hook. And now I'm going to go back halfway. And bring that forward. I'm going to take pull that rib to the side. I'm going to take the pheasant tail and I'm going to pull it, and you want to hold it at the same time with your left hand because that will happen. We're going to take that and we're going to tie that in. Move that rib out of the way. I'm going to pull that a little bit. And we have it mostly on top. We can trim off the excess. Careful of those legs. You don't want to pull them back until the last. Now it's a little bit split, but we're going to wrap the rib. And you want to make sure you hold it together so it doesn't keep splitting. And hold it on top. Wrap that wire tight. And we're going to bring that up. And I'm going to tie that in. Just helicopter that off. Looks like I have one leg that went to the back there. I'm going to just trim that out of there. Now I'm going to take some black crystal dub, and we don't want a lot. We want to make a nice thin noodle. I'm going to turn that sideways or even upside down there. And we're going to see how far that gets me. Bring it back to that shell back. Then when we get to the leg point, I'm going to pull them toward the front, or I'm going to pull them toward the back and wrap in front of them. I have just a little bit of dubbing left, but I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to color the thread there a bit with the black marker. Go ahead and make that last wrap. Take our whip finish. Tighten that up. Trim that off. I'm going to put a little bit of head cement on the bead. And I'm going to put a little bit on the pheasant tail. And here we have a large green caddis larva. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.